Hey, everybody. I want to take a minute just to go over with you what the report that we provide from Read It, what it really means to a chiropractor, right? What does it mean to your patient as a chiropractic patient? So I want to break it down a little bit. You'll see in the report as you look at it and go sit through the webinar yourself, the individual markers found on that LabCorp report by themselves don't hold a whole lot of meaning for people. It doesn't even hold a whole lot of meaning for us. But when we categorize each of those into one or more of 8 different body systems that we all can understand, that we all can recognize as being super important, that's when those markers have a tremendous amount of meaning. So the 8 categories that I'm talking about have to do with, well, red blood cell health, blood sugar health, heart health, liver and kidney health, mineral and electrolyte health, thyroid hormone health, immune system health, and inflammation and how that impacts your health. So those are the 8 categories. But when we look at them as a whole, what does it mean to us as a chiropractor? And in what way do the recommendations we make? The recommendations could be exercise, they could be diet related, of course they usually are, but there's also nutritional supplementation that we're going to recommend as well. The patients should understand how that's going to impact those systems and how that impacts their health and how that impacts their chiropractic care. So, red blood cell health. Why is that important to a chiropractor or to a chiropractic patient? Well, obviously, in the report we discuss, or in the webinar, we discuss how the number one job of a red blood cell is to deliver oxygen. And the most oxygen sensitive organ in the human body is the brain and central nervous system, the one system that controls all the other systems in the body. That communication system is what chiropractors deal with. So if we're going to remove a vertebral subluxation or a structural subluxation with nervous system, interference with nervous system function, well, let's make sure that we can deliver the fuel that nervous system needs, and that is the health of the red blood cell. So much of the health of the red blood cell is really going to be based on the ingredients it takes to have a healthy red blood cell. Vitamin B12, vitamin B9, iron, etc. All right, so then of course there's blood sugar health, and blood sugar is, very tightly regulated, something that we always discuss in our report or in our webinar. And it's very tightly regulated. Too much blood sugar is toxic, too little blood sugar is toxic, and we have to always be in our set point. We talk about the teaspoon and how 5 liters of blood in that entire amount of blood that you have in your body at any given point, you should have a teaspoon of sugar, no more, no less. And that's incredibly important to a chiropractic patient because our patients present with fatigue. They present with, they want to take a nap after a meal. They present with all kinds of issues related to headaches associated with their blood sugar being in flux. And then, of course, if they have a family history that they're concerned about related to Alzheimer's or mild cognitive decline or something along those lines, we now know the important role that blood sugar plays. And then, of course, we have our heart health. It's the number one killer in the United States, heart disease is. So everyone should know where they stand as far as that goes, but also understanding that it's not just about low and high cholesterol, that in order for your cardiovascular system to be happy and healthy, or I should say, in order for your cardiovascular system to be impaired, it's not just about your cholesterol, it's about your inflammation and your immune response. And we clearly make that clear in the report as well as the webinar. And then, of course, liver and kidney health is hugely important for everyone who's interested in detoxifying from our toxic world. Those are our major organs of detoxification. They can really start to show signs of stress in these blood tests before a symptom will ever appear. And we can pick that up very, very quickly on these tests. And we explain it in the report. And then, of course, when it comes to your minerals and electrolytes, we always say that we are electric by nature, right? In order to contract a muscle, relax a muscle, think a thought, have neurotransmission, there has to be this electric charge, and those charges come from our electrolytes, and looking at that balance is very important. And then, of course, we have our thyroid hormone health, right? because our hormones in general are very important, and we glean a lot of information about hormones in this blood test, not simply about our sex hormones, but the more what we call upstream hormones. So the energy hormones like thyroid hormone and what impacts the thyroid hormone after it's already been produced. If you're making thyroid hormone, that's wonderful. What's happening to the thyroid hormone once it's circulating through the body? Is it being converted properly by our liver and our gastrointestinal system? So those are things that we can glean information from on this report. And then, of course, we have the immune system, which seems to be the topic of the decade, of course. But you can't heal without an immune system, and why do people go to chiropractors if it's not to heal? And then, the main byproduct of immune system function is going to be inflammation. And inflammation can come in so many different forms, and we check several of them. And it gives us information about why that person may have certain types of inflammation, or it allows us to make the proper recommendation to reduce their form of inflammation that they have. So that's kind of a brief overview of the 8 categories, why we created that report to have the 8 categories, and also what it means to you as a chiropractor and to your patients as a chiropractic patient to understand or listen to that webinar in the context of those 8 bodily systems.